Like, I mean, if you go $50 million over and you end up winning some playoff games and stuff and go deep, that money will be returned to you. And
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So
just before we keep going on the rumors, another signing that just happened: Juan Nicasio, another relief pitcher, signed with the Seattle Mariners.
All these relief pitchers are going really fast.
Yeah, I mean, the market for them is ridiculous. They're all getting paid. Mariners are clearly going for it.
Yeah. They're going for it, but I don't know if they'll make it. I mean, they should. They definitely should. But
yeah, there's not really an excuse. One more. While we're just talking about stuff that's coming up, Ian Kinsler, second baseman for the Tigers.
That's a big name.
Yeah, might be getting traded to the Angels. So
the Angels are going for it. The Angels are going for it too. That's two teams that always go for it.
This is what makes baseball great. Is when people start getting into an arms race trying to get top players.
Kinsler, that'd be any news on what would be sending back for that? Just
not
prospects,
yet.
Maybe?
My guess would be just some prospects. He is old, a little bit older with a big contract, so they probably
Kinsler's
wouldn't cost
a good player,
too
though,
much.
so.
Oh, he would stabilize that lineup. Real. Could you imagine Trout now has Ohtani and Kinsler?
Yeah.
He's jumping around.
He's oh my gosh. Pujols strikes out 200 times a year.
Yeah. I mean, he loves Pujols. I should tell you how bad his team is. So next, I mean, that was, like I said, the Diamondbacks Rangers. They're working on a pitcher, but the Diamondbacks' main target is JD Martinez, who did meet with them this week.
And I'm glad, don't take this as don't go get JD. I'm really glad that they're trying to keep this guy because he did really, really well for them. I just wish they wouldn't be talking about dumping Zach Greinke so quick.
Right.
He had probably JD Martinez had a good year, but Zach Greinke had just as good a year.
Yeah, Greinke
if not
was
better.
So consistent. The nice thing with the Diamondbacks though is
because that was our problem for so long was pitching. But we finally got some stable pitching.
You also got. Your pitching was so good. Robbie Ray was great. Taijuan Walker was great.
I know. Let's keep all those great pitchers. You were saying, we need a fifth pitcher. Right now we have 3 good pitchers.
You have 3, then you have Corbin, and then Shelby Miller should be back.
Yeah. I mean, but those guys aren't
right.
They're serviceable. They're not good pitchers.
Yeah, they'll pass.
We have 3 good pitchers. Now if you got rid of Corbin and Greinke,
that would be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, get rid of Corbin. Try to find your way around this. Zach Greinke should be your last resort.
Right. I would totally trade Greinke if you can get a pitcher back and you're guaranteed to sign Martinez.
Yeah,
you have to get a pitcher back.
You have to get a starting a top 3 rotation guy back for
that's
Zach
fine.
Greinke.
I'm okay with that. Dude, I don't know. I just think the Diamondbacks are going to sneak in on Yu Darvish or something like that.
Dude, I'd be happy. I'd be happy.
We got it, guys.
I would be praising him. I'd be okay, you did it again. You went and spent money. Good job.
The next big name is really Manny Machado.
I saw this. Wants to play shortstop.
Yeah, he played. I mean, he's been hybriding between shortstop and third base all of last year, basically.
So he's not resigning in Baltimore at all.
I don't think so.
So what?
I don't think they can.
Correct me again if I'm wrong.
He's going to demand a lot. They're not going to do it.
But weren't we talking about Manny Machado a few weeks ago on something, and you were saying he's probably just going to stay in Baltimore or something, or?
I just think that he's going to demand so much money, and Baltimore is just one of those stubborn organizations that just won't budge.
It's Diamondbacks, yeah.
We are not budging on this. My only concern is the reason I don't think he'll be traded is because Baltimore always thinks they're in it. And they kind of are. I mean, they're always
a good team.
They're always in the running.
They're always like the Mariners.
Yeah. And except they do make the
Except
playoffs.
they're a little bit better than the Mariners.
Yeah. I mean, last year they were last place in the American League, and 3 weeks later they were in a wild card spot. So they're always going to be in the running, which is why they're not going to deal him. I would say if they're not in the running in July, he gets dealt in July to a playoff contender. But he's going to be a free agent at the end of next season. He wants to be a shortstop. I get it. The shortstops are taking over baseball. Carlos Correa, Corey Seager, Addison Russell.
So what? There's a lot of good shortstops in the league. Why do you think his desire to switch to shortstop? Because if he stayed at third base, he'd be the best third baseman in baseball. Or one of the best third basemen.
Yeah, he'd be up there.
I mean, he'd still be one of the best shortstops in baseball, too.
Yeah, he's going to be the best.
It's a lot more crowded there, too.
I don't know. I get it. I just think that being a shortstop is more I'm a shortstop. I can do anything.
It's that Derek Jeter thing. It's Derek Jeter really, brought the shortstop to the forefront and was it's a really sexy position to play.
Yeah.
Whereas third base is kind of the big guys.
The one trade I could see though, the St. Louis Cardinals, and as much as I hate to say it, they have 2 on the verge stud pitchers get just about ready for the majors, and Baltimore needs pitching, and they could give up Machado for that. Which, I'd be so upset because I like Machado and I just hate the Cardinals so much.
that would make the Cardinals. That would make the Cardinals.
That might honestly make them the favorites in our division. So that's one, and I mentioned it earlier, but Josh Donaldson to the Cardinals is also kind of in the mix.
Cardinals really out there trying to.
I think. Well, they missed the playoffs the first time in forever. I mean,
they're trying to make some moves.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these smaller free agent signings. I meant to talk about this first, but
you're fine.
So go through these like rapid fire, these smaller free agent signings, and I say smaller free agent signings, but some of these names are actually.
Oh, it's official. As of 15 seconds ago, Ian Kinsler is now an Angel. So officially done.
Live on air.
Live breaking news: Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic. Kinsler to the Angels. All right,
rapid fire through these smaller free agent deals.
Okay, so Mike Fiers, Tigers, just filling out starting pitching. Chris Inetta, catcher, going to the Rockies, another just kind of filler. Ryan Schimpf is gone from the Padres to the Rays. He's a second baseman with just ridiculous power, but strikes out like Aaron Judge rate. Chase Headley is actually a pretty good third baseman. He was traded to the Padres, back to the Padres, I should say. The Yankees are just dumping salary for the whole Stanton thing, and the Yankees want to get more, free up more money to stay under the luxury tax. He actually might get dealt again because he is a serviceable third baseman.
Yeah.
And then Michael Pineda, who was having probably the best year of his career last year for the Yankees, messed up his elbow, had Tommy John. He signed with the Minnesota Twins, who definitely need pitching. He'll probably miss most of the year, but he should be back probably on the trade deadline, maybe a little bit later. And if the Twins are still in it like they were this year,
Twins
they'll be solid.
The Cinderella story of this past year.
Yeah, no joke.
All right, so I've got a few questions for you.
Okay.
Who do you think is so far winning this free agent offseason shuffle?
It's got to be the Yankees, right?
Yeah, I mean, Yankees get the biggest player. But is there some other team like we were talking about the Cardinals? They're making moves. Angels are making moves.
Honestly, with this Ian Kinsler deal, the Angels could definitely. I mean, they're up there.
I mean, it's hard with Ohtani because we don't know.
Yeah, I know that's such a question mark.
I mean, Stanton instantly makes the Yankees a favorite, so I can definitely see that. What do you think? So, what do you think of Derek Jeter's plan for the Marlins? And do you think he's doing a good job with this whole new Marlins president thing? Or
I think time will tell. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, he's getting a lot of young players too, and we're not going to see the fruits of his labor for a few years.
Yeah, so. No, I agree. I really think what he's dealt now 3 of his top 4 players. The only person left is Christian Yelich, who's probably going to get dealt next. He's ticked off. I mean, he just had his 3 best friends traded in a matter of 3 days.
Dude, Derek Jeter came in there and was like, I'm cleaning house.
Yeah. So I admire what he's doing. I think you kind of have to do it, especially...
Definitely not afraid to make a move.
The problem is, like, if you have 4 good players like that, you should be competing, and they just weren't. Like, they weren't competing at all.
Yeah.
I really think they would have... And this is really sad, but if Jose Fernandez hadn't died, I think they would have been in the competition all of last year. I mean that tragedy right there just turned the tides on the whole franchise.
Yeah, I mean the Marlins have been bad for a while too, so it's like maybe he wants. I can see what Derek Jeter's doing. He wants to clear house of all like the former regime, and be like, we're going to start a new. This is the new Marlins. This is
how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to start a culture of winning because Derek Jeter.
He doesn't lose.
He doesn't lose when he's on those Yankees teams. There is a reason why his nickname, like he has all these nicknames, and it's Derek Jeter, like Mr. November.
Yeah,
like
he refuses to. He's a winner. I mean, that's what he is.
I mean, he is the winner from the past decade or past generation.
Yeah. So I like what he's doing. I think you have to do it. I don't really think you have a choice. And I get like just trading Stanton, trying to keep the other guys and just try to compete. I would do what he's doing. Wipe it.
Yeah, wipe
get
it
top
clean.
Prospects.
Wipe it clean. Bring in everything new. And he hasn't brought in like new managers or anything, has he? Or did he do that?
Don Mattingly is still the manager, although I don't think that's going to last.
Yeah, I was going to say like you should do like the entire like everything should be just wiped clean and bring bring in a really, really good manager that establishes that, maybe bring in someone to like Yankees ties from past thing, or just someone that knows winning and just establish that new culture for them.
Yeah, I think they want to get a guy right now that can help like bridge the gap and be like, okay, like we're not going to compete. But we want you to
I'm not saying like bring in a guy that's going to make you compete immediately, but bring in a guy that's not going to take not like low effort for granted. Like he's going to like push these young players and establish a culture. Like bringing this to like NBA, like what Mark Jackson did. Mark Jackson didn't come in and for the Warriors didn't come in and instantly make them. He did really make them not contenders, but playoff contenders. But he established that culture of winning and like excellence and stuff, and then kind of unwillingly like it's kind of unfair for Mark Jackson, but that's kind of how it worked out. He established that whole thing with them, and then it was handed to Steve Kerr, and he just kind of took it the rest away.
Well, that's not with the Cubs. The Cubs had Rick Renteria. And he got the best out of a kind of a battle. It's before we had Chris Bryant, before we had all these guys, Javier Baez. He's like, I got the best out of it. And then Joe Madden became available, and Theo Epstein was like, Rick, you did a great job. We've got to get, like, it's Joe Madden. Like, you can't pass on that.
And if you're someone like the Marlins, like it's a real process going from where they are now. Like they have no one to stand to be like building a winning culture and then like really building a team that.
Yeah,
like I think it's going to be always in the running, and I think now that I'm kind of talking myself into this, but I really like what Derek Jeter's doing.
Yeah,
and I've never said that in my entire life because I hate the Yankees.
I can almost guarantee. I wouldn't guarantee it, but I would put a lot of money
in the next 5 years.
Well, say a year from today, they're going to hire Joe Girardi as their manager.
Yeah, and I would say in the next 5 years, we'll probably be talking about Marlins as like a.
Well, when
maybe like a mainstay in the AL or something.
NL,
yeah, sorry.
When
I always there's something about like I always think the Marlins are AL just because they're jerseys. Is that like a fair thing? Because like AL has like these distinct. Like,
I always say Marlins
looking.
And think Mariners. It's like it's too close for me, but it's okay. Once the Nationals lose Bryce Harper to the Cubs and Daniel Murphy leaves them, they'll be terrible, and the Marlins will take their spot in the NL East. And the Cubs will still reign tall over everybody.
Yeah, that's what you really hope.
Dude, if we get Bryce Harper, I'd be so happy. Just the last few names. These guys had really bad years last year. Carlos Gonzalez, Jose Bautista, Carlos Gomez. All outfielders are all pretty. They're good players, but they were all just awful. Like last year, I don't even know how else to explain it. They were terrible.
Cargo. The Rockies finally make the playoffs, and
it wasn't because
he's just horrible.
He didn't do anything. I imagine all three of them will take 1 year deals, try to boost their value, and the next year come out and.
I mean, they're still all going to get signed.
Get big trades. We still have. I mean, there's still a lot of free agents out there. You still have Eric Hosmer. We still have Mike Moustakas, Jake Arrieta, Yu Darvish, JD Martinez. I mean, there's still
a lot of big names out there.
Yeah,
like stars.
Big names.
Yeah. This is a giant free agent class for baseball.
Yeah, next year's going to be even bigger, too, which is unreal.
Maybe that's just like a thing like baseball just has a lot of good young stars.
Oh, that's the nicest thing about baseball.
And we've been talking about that. Like we've been beating that dead horse for a long time about like baseball having a lot of good young stars, and
everybody is just it's just awesome to watch. Baseball has been so much fun the last few years.
And this free agent is actually pretty exciting. Like I wasn't really paying much attention to it, honestly, but then you got me in here, and I'm more excited about it now. I'm actually excited to see where the Marlins go now. I'm genuinely like invested in that now.
Oh man,
I like what he's doing. But anything else?
No, I mean that's it for the most part.
Want to go ahead and wrap it up?
Yeah, well. I'm just checking my Twitter real quick, make sure nothing else happened while we were talking.
No trades happening in the 0 hour of the podcast.
Yeah, it's been a good off season. I mean, it's been a little bit slower, but
now we're starting to get like the dominoes to fall, and I think probably the next few big names go off for Jake Arrieta and Yu Darvish.
Yeah, I imagine
sticking with that pitching theme.
Yeah, I mean the market's kind of been set for the most part. Once Alex Cobb signs, Darvish and Arrieta will just follow.
Yeah.
So, got to figure out how much money everybody can get. That's what it's all about in the end.
Where can they find you, Trevor?
You guys can find me at the T Barbs on Twitter. It'll be under the Completely Biased Twitter page.
Yep, and you can follow the show, Completely Biased, on Twitter